And now, the best 60-ish seconds of your week.
Hard to believe it's already May, but here we are. And spring is totally with us now, and thanks be to God that it is. And before we go further, would you please take a minute, as we ask each week, to like, share, subscribe, and even comment on the best 60-ish seconds of your week, because those little things help the algorithms tell the world that they should be watching the best 60 seconds. And this week we had a visit from King Charles III, coming over across the pond to help America celebrate its 250th anniversary. A little bit of irony there because of how we got that. And he gave this great speech to the people of the United States, filled with humor, with some references to the White House ballroom and the reconstruction that the British did here in 1814, but also presenting Donald Trump with a bell from the USS Trump, or not the USS, I'm sorry, the British ship Trump, which was really an extraordinary gift, and some really insightful messages from King Charles III. So all in all, a great day for both our mother country and the good old US of A. And the United States Supreme Court this week wisely and properly said that race should not be a determining factor in redistricting. Now, redistricting has become a big item these days. You don't hear the Democrats yapping too much about what happened in California or in Virginia, but oh my goodness, if something quote-unquote good happens for Republicans, they're all over it. And what they're yelling about is that this somehow harkens back to Jim Crow. Well, let's take a quick look at the history of Jim Crow, which was generated, propagated, and continued by Democrats. If you recall, the Voting Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act needed Republican votes from Everett Dirksen and company because Lyndon Johnson couldn't muster those Southern Democrats from within his own party. The segregationist votes like John Stennis and Jim Eastland, Richard Russell, and even Al Gore, who opposed the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act. So just a little tidbit of history for you there on that one. And in another tip of the hat to racist pasts, Jimmy Kimmel was back in the news with his horrible, I mean, there's no other way to say it, horrible comments about Mrs. Trump. And, you know, he's long ago passed good humor and good taste, but people seem to forget the fact that he made his bones dressing up in blackface and making fun of Oprah Winfrey and Karl Malone and others in some of the most racist skits you can possibly imagine. That's Jimmy Kimmel's history. So remember that when he comes up again. And yes, they should look at the licenses of ABC, not because of Jimmy Kimmel, but because of the stuff that Disney and ABC have done with DEI. Very appropriate, very proper. Time to get back to non-race-based things that really rely on merit rather than the color of one's skin. And we've talked several times here about the relationship between the two U.S. Senators from Pennsylvania, John Fetterman and Dave McCormick, and what a really good thing it is that they have the working relationship that they do. And this week, Dave McCormick, U.S. Senator from Pennsylvania, was in Philadelphia with the mayor there, Cherelle Parker, again, in a bipartisan way to address serious issues confronting the city of brotherly love. And yeah, I'd rather have a Republican mayor, but bluntly, we're not going to have one in Philadelphia. And Cherelle Parker is about as good as it gets. Pray for her, because she really is trying to do the right thing, oftentimes with both hands tied behind her back, but with the help of Dave McCormick, who made it very clear that he's rooting for her and going to do everything he can to help her with the important agenda items that will strengthen the city of Philadelphia and, by extension, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and the country at large. And of course, later today, they run for the roses, the greatest 2 minutes in sports. I love the Kentucky Derby. It is so iconic and for so many reasons. Apparently, Renegade will go off as the early favorite, winner of the Arkansas Derby a couple of weeks ago. And who could vote against Commandment? You know, it's biblical references there, but it's going to be a great race, as it always is. And we'll look forward to every single second of that race. And elsewhere in sports, my beloved Philadelphia Phillies let manager Rob Thompson go this week. I love Topper, but something had to be done. Mattingly comes in, and the Phillies sweep the Giants, including 2 walk-offs in a single day, something that has, if ever, I don't know, I didn't check it out, been done in the history of baseball. The Phillies managed to pull off in their first couple of days under the leadership of Don Mattingly. So everything is in good ways. The spring has sprung. Sports is in full swing. And for now, that is the best 60-ish seconds of your week.